Sup, y'all, it's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and if you've been living under a rock for the past 24 hours, let me be the first to tell you that the new World of Warcraft expansion has been announced, World of Warcraft Legion, and it appears that some of that baseless speculation that I made was not so baseless after all. So in this video, man, we're going to be going over the features, we're going to be going over the lore, we're going to be going over the new class, we're going to be going over everything, okay? And the first thing, alright, look, I woke up this morning, by morning I mean 1 p.m., I woke up and I checked my phone and I watched the cinematic. This is just a teaser though, this is not the whole thing, so don't get too excited, alright? So I look at it, and the first thing I see, Gul'dan, pattering around. You guys know him. He's, he's dangerous, but he doesn't really move very fast, okay? And so he's walking up to basically a fell popsicle. He puts his hand on the fell popsicle, and then guess what fucking pops out? Illidan fucking Storm Rage. I told you guys it was gonna happen, and the hype train did go off the rails. I was looking at the on the forums, everybody's going apeshit, and guess what the new class is? It's Demon Hunter. What did I tell you? The level cap is getting increased up to 110, okay, and that's the trailer cut off right there, okay, but you guys are going to see a longer trailer with, like, variant and everything else, all kinds of crazy shit going on, alright, and so the main thing that I'm going to really tell you guys about, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but the main thing I want to talk about, the new class is really cool. Demon Hunter, am I going to re-roll? Probably not, right, but I'm definitely going to make one, and I'm going to be showing you guys all the shit on the beta that's apparently going to be happening later on this year, which indicates if they were going to release it this year, they would say that it would be released this later on this year, and so we can maybe look at like maybe a Q1 or Q2 release of 2016, a little bit later than I had expected, but hopefully it's going to be as good as possible and it won't be rushed like Warlords of Draenor. Everybody's really hyped about this. Well, not everybody. Some people are including myself, really. I mean, honestly, I'm cautiously optimistic. Everything looks great. It looks really fun. There are a couple of things that I don't really like a whole lot, but we're going to talk about those as well. And so the new continent, they're adding a new continent, and also they're going to put Dalaran in a new continent, because I mean, you guys, Dalaran's a floating city. It can be anywhere, all right? And so it can be in Pandaria, all right? That'd be kind of a ways for it to go. But I guess actually this is even further. So this is going to be the Broken Isles, okay? And the Broken Isles, if you guys ever played Warcraft 3, that's where Sargeras' tomb is. That's where you've got Maiev and all that crazy shit. And so we're going to be going over there to fight the Burning Legion, all right? And so we don't really know everything that's going on with this story, but we do know a couple of things, and I do know that at the beginning of the story, I think that there's going to be some sort of like really big conflict and some main characters are going to die. And the reason for that is they're adding in artifact weapons. Now this is something that I kind of have two minds about, and I don't really like in a lot of ways, but I do think it's really cool also, and so I'm kind of waiting to see how it's going to turn out. Now, my understanding of this is that every single different specialization in the game, and so there's going to be 36 specs. Demon Hunters only have 2 specs. They have a tanking spec and they have a DPS spec. There's no 2 DPS specs. There's like Havoc and Chaos, I think. Those are the 2 different specs. I'm not entirely sure what the 2 are, but one's tank spec and one's a DPS spec. And so anyway, each different spec has their own special artifact weapon that apparently you're going to get pretty soon going into the new expansion. And so what I really, I'm really kind of worried about in a way is that everybody, and so like everybody, like the weapons that you get are just fucking, I mean, that's it, all right? Ret Paladin, guess what a Ret Paladin gets? Ashbringer. Okay, it gets Ashbringer. It gets fucking Ashbringer. Okay, and so every single Ret Paladin is gonna have Ashbringer? What the fuck? What is going on? Like, I don't know. I think that's kind of crazy that, like, every single Ret Paladin has Ashbringer, but we'll see how it turns out. And so not only do you get this artifact weapon, it's not just like picking up a perp and, all right, great, I'll put an enchant on it and transmog it to a weapon from 5 years ago. No, this is even better. Okay, so you get the original weapon. All right, so you get, like, basically the base Ashbringer, and you can get all of these customizable changes. And not only that, the weapon itself is like its own talent tree, and so you can level up your weapon and get different things in the tree of the weapon that increase like your damage, make you do more things. I think they've got an example of this somewhere. It's like, so Tempar's Verdict hits twice or something like that, things that increase your different your different combat effectiveness. I don't know if everything has to do with combat. I don't know if some things do. I'm not entirely sure about that. A lot of the stuff hasn't been fleshed out, of course. And so, if I didn't say already, levels cap is going to be going up to 110, and also they've got this really cool thing that has to do with these artifact weapons called the class order halls. That's what it's called. And so basically, everybody, well, see, this is another thing I don't understand. So everybody in the entire I guess like on your server or whatever, is in the same class order hall. And so I think that's the way it works. And so, for example, like all the warriors are in one order hall. I'm not really sure what it would be. I honestly have no idea. Probably the Paladins is going to be Lights Hope Chapel. The Death Knights kind of have Ebon Hold. It's going to be that kind of a thing, like how Death Knights have Ebon Hold. Well, all of the classes are going to have their own thing. I guess like the Warlocks have some guy's basement down there with a bunch of succubi down there. You know how they are. But anyway, so everybody has their own special class hall that I think that you need to get your artifact weapon to get into it. And either way, it's very connected. And so you're going to be getting these different this artifact weapon, and there's a different one for each class. And so my understanding with like the cinematic is that the artifact weapons are supposed to be from champions that either drop their weapon or lose the will to fight, and that's what it was said in the announcement. And so some of these artifact weapons are Ashbringer, and so Tyrion Forging is the wielder of Ashbringer. Now, of course, we all know that was it High Lord? Mograine. I'm trying to remember his first name. I just don't remember right now off the top of my head. But it was the one of the four horsemen in the original Naxxramas was the original wielder of Alexandros Mograine. Alexandros Mograine was the original wielder of Ashbringer that was crafted by Magni Bronzebeard. And so and also another weapon that they have, the enhancement shaman weapon, is the Doomhammer. And if you guys don't know what that is, that's the weapon that Thrall used whenever he fought Garrosh. And so what's really happening here, I also think that this is my own prediction. I think that Tyrion might die. I'm not really sure. I think that Varian is going to die, and I'll explain why I think that too. And also because there hasn't been a lot of other weapons that were announced, and I think that the obvious go-to weapon for warriors in terms of a two-handed weapon would either be Shamalain. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but it's Varian Rims, which is King of Stormwinds. That's his sword, or also Gorehowl. I think those would be two of the main ones. The other ones that could possibly would be Broxigar's axe. I don't really know how that would be able to be recovered since it was in the Twisting Nether. Either way, so there are a lot of different weapons that it could be, but I do think that probably, because it's said that, heroes that have fallen or that have, given up the mantle, and also Turleon and Ilaria are coming back, and so maybe, Turleon I think was like a really big deal paladin, even more than Tyrion Forging, and so Tyrion, may have stepped down to let Turleon lead the paladins. I'm not entirely sure how everything is going to go, but my understanding is that these weapons are going to be from champions that are no longer part, really, of the story directly at that time, and so seeing Doomhammer there, obviously makes me very confused as to what they're going to be doing with Thrall. As we all know, Thrall has very, very thick plot armor, and honestly, I don't even really want to see Thrall die. Like, I've been, like, Thrall and we've been boys for, like, what, almost, over 10 years. Like, I remember leading Thrall, around, like, you remember the Warcraft 3 cinematic, the entry-level Warcraft 3 cinematic, and, like, Medivh comes down, gives him a vision, it's like, you've got to lead the Horde. That was fucking awesome. And it's like, okay, even though some dumb shit has happened, am I really ready to want to have Thrall die? I don't know, man. I don't know. It kind of worries me. And so anyway, we also see a lot of development with Anduin Wrynn. I'm not really sure. I think it's Wrynn, but I'm not. I think it's Anduin. Either way, it's obviously Varian's son, and we see a lot of character development with him. Not only with like the quest text and the books like War Crimes and everything, but we also see him now like in the in the cinematic and like everything else like that. So Khadgar comes down to Stormwind, and it was like very reminiscent of course, again, like the Warcraft 3 cinematic where Medivh goes to King Tyrannus Minithil, and he kind of tried to convince him that you've got to do all this shit. And so now Khadgar comes in the form of the Raven with Atesh in the same way, and you see not only Varian, but you also see Anduin there, and he's like looks a lot older, basically looks like Jaime Lannister, and so there might be a possibility, and also the way that they gave his quest text, or not really quest text, but his flavor text in the expansion teaser content, it says that he has to make a really difficult choice, and so I do think that something might happen in terms of Varian dying. I hope that doesn't happen, honestly. I think Varian's one of the cooler characters, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Either way, we're going to see. And so that's one of the main things that I kind of have a lot of questions and concerns about, because whenever you give everybody the weapon, it becomes like not really, it doesn't really matter, right? Because everybody gets it. Seems like legendary cloak with the legendary ring. It's not really so amazing that, like you want to show it off to everybody because everybody's got it. And so I'm not really sure how they're going to handle that. Now, the way that I understand this is that there are going to be different variations of the weapon, and my understanding and my expectation is going to be some of the variations will be locked behind certain types of content. And so maybe if you have to get like a gladiator to get like the red Ashbringer, and you have to complete like whatever mythic boss it is, like kill Gul'dan, because we'll probably have to do that at some point, and that will give you the green type of Ashbringer. And I'm not really sure how that's going to work, but I think that that would be a pretty good indicator of what to expect. Now, besides that, they're also going to be adding a lot more dungeons, and they made a big point to emphasize that dungeons are a very big part of the MMO experience, and so we can probably see a lot more things added into the game to increase the replayability of dungeons, which of course I think that I think that everybody wants that, and I just really hope that they add things in there that actually really change and make the experience better rather than just scaling them up. Also, one thing that really interested me is they're making a new honor system, and they use this as kind of like the third type of honor system, whereas the first honor system was the, like whenever you level up from like private to grand marshal, or, whatever the first orc one was, or a horde one, all the way up to high warlord, like the 14 rank system in vanilla. And then they also had the honor system, which they view as like the second iteration of the PvP reward system. And this third PvP reward system, it's the way that they show it, it's basically like another talent tree that you have, and it goes all the way up to level 50. Now, whenever you get up to level 50, you can stay at level 50, or you can basically buy a prestige rank, and that changes your character portrait. And I mean, you guys know, I mean, I care a lot about like the aesthetic things, and so like I'm gonna be spending off my levels all the time. But if you do stay at level 50, you get all of these different bonuses, and you're able to kind of get new spells. I don't know if these new spells actually augment your current spells, or they're entirely new spells, but pretty much the point of this is to make PvP less gear balanced and more, I guess, like player balanced. And so what I don't understand about this is that how will your gear really come into play in PvP, and especially in world PvP, since you do have these different weapons and everybody's weapon is going to be a little bit different. How is all of this really going to factor together, with like the different, like probably blue gear is going to be from, I don't know, like a dungeon, and epic gear will be from raids. And so whenever you PvP against two people like that, two people playing against each other, and how is gear really not going to be a factor? And so that's something that I'm very curious about. Now, I think it's on Sunday, they're going to be doing a lot of discussion with more of like the nuts and bolts, and that's honestly what I'm really interested in. Now, I'm honestly really excited about this, and I'm cautiously optimistic. As I said before, if everything that happens in this announcement makes it into the game, I'm going to be very happy, and I think everybody will, and I just hope that that happens. And so, on top of that, we've got 2 new raids. I'm trying to remember what the raids are really called. It's not really too big of a deal. There's the Emerald Nightmare, which, a lot of people have always wanted to see the Emerald Dream, and so this is like kind of a way that they can kind of do that for fan service. And also Suramar Palace, which is a like a high elf noble city, and I think this is like more, and they even made a point to say that this isn't just like another orc raid. And so I think that they're really trying to distance their vision of this expansion, the World of Warcraft Legion, from Warlords of Draenor as much as possible. I think the main things that I'm really excited for the most is the new PvP talent trees and everything like that. And I also really am curious about the Demon Hunter, and I'm trying to remember, and the Demon Hunter is going to be a special class, and they're actually doing something that I think is a very good idea, but I was surprised that they did do it. I'm very glad that they did do it, is that Demon Hunters are only available to Blood Elves for Horde and Night Elves for Alliance, and so it's very in tune with the lore, and so I thought that was really cool. You guys know how Death Knights can be basically any race except for Pandaren or Pandarian, whatever. And so I think that was really cool. I'm really excited. I'm trying to scroll down here and see if there's anything else I really need to tell you guys about. Pretty much like there's also going to be, remember what I told you guys, how I didn't really think that the garrisons were going to just completely go away? Well, they haven't, and what they're going to really transition the garrisons over to is these class order areas. And again, my understanding of that is that you're going to be in the class order area with everybody else that's in your class on the server, or the cluster of servers, or whatever the cross-realm thing is. And also, you're going to have these new follower missions, but it's not going to be the same way that it is in Wars of Draenor. The follower missions are going to be the way that people always expected and hoped that it would be, where the followers actually follow you into different combat situations, and you fight alongside your followers. And that made me think of is the old Blizzard game, and I still have this on my Super Nintendo, The Lost Vikings. And so you have like the guy that has a shield that can block attacks, and you have the guy that can jump up really high, and the other guy who could do something. I think he could throw like shoot arrows or something like that. And so you can basically like specialize your little team, your task force, to help you go out and solve different little problems. And I really hope that that's the way that it makes it into the game in this new expansion. And on top of that, you also, I did talk about the prestige ranks with PvP. The class, and also some of the other really cool things is that they're adding like the feral druid thing. I really am curious to see what the Moonkin one is going to look like. But the different artifact weapons actually change the appearance of your cat form and your bear form. And so it's not just like, it's basically the same thing because transmog doesn't really matter, right? With the feral druids or bear druids, now it does. Now it really does. And so, these really cool cosmetic rewards, I'm really excited about, and I'm really happy about. And so hopefully, guys, you guys are too. I know that a lot of people have been really disappointed with how War of the Draenor has been handled. And so what we can really hope for is the beta is going to be coming out later on this year, and we can just hope, and you guys know that I'm going to be with you every step of the way with that beta, and telling you guys what you need to know and everything else like that. And we can just hope that everything that they announced, all these really cool ideas, actually make it into the game, and they're as fun as I hope that they could be. And so anyway, guys, let me know what you think. I do apologize I didn't have this video out yesterday. I honestly just wasn't able to do it for a lot of real life reasons. But hopefully this is everything that you want to know, and I'm going to be giving you guys updates whenever, they become available to me. And so again, new World of Warcraft expansion, World of Warcraft Legion, Burning Legion expansion with Gul'dan and motherfucking Illidan Stormrage. It's looking pretty good, man. It's looking pretty good. And I do want to say one thing. People say this is a fan service expansion. I do hope that Blizzard spends more time developing new characters. I think it's really important. Bringing back Galarian and Turleon is kind of going to do that in a way, and I just hope they do that even more. I'd really like to see more new character development in this expansion, and not just development of current characters. So that's the last thing I really wanted to say. Like Audwin Warren is a really good example. Rathian, good example. Yrel, I know a lot of people hate her, but I think that she's okay, and so that's at least an okay example. I think Murad was dead. That's right. Never mind. So those are the main three. And so anyway, guys, I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure almost everybody is. And, I just hope that everything that they've promised and they've talked about makes it into the game. And so that's pretty much all I got. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your questions and concerns are. I might do a thing, like a stream thing. I've been telling you guys I've been doing that for a couple of times. It might actually happen, but I don't want to say too much that will. Either way, if we do, I'll have a discussion with you guys live, and we'll have a bigger discussion about it. I think I might do that after the Sunday announcement with like the more nuts and bolts elements of the expansion. But anyway, before I keep droning on and on and on and on and on, that's pretty much all I've got. So, thank you for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.